What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Bahama Papas podcast.
Yes, sir!
I'm Big Andy, and I'm here with my two friends. Introduce yourself, boys.
I'm Wevery Lot. That was my old YouTube name, feel me?
I'm Dank Seal.
All right. Well, now that we're all introduced,
So,
what are we talking about today, boys?
I'd like to talk about the current war going on between Russia and Ukraine. I feel like that there's a lot of interesting subjects. Like, I feel like it's very interesting how Russia took over Chernobyl, the nuclear reactor that blew up or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I would really be like a no-fly zone,
Yeah.
because Chernobyl is still very active, even like what is it now, like 30 years after its meltdown.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen what happened before. We don't want, like, another loose bomb going inside and just blowing the shit out of it.
I mean, Weatherly, we've even seen before, in the Jimmy Carter administration, about in the 1970s, in the United States, we had the 3 Mile Island incident, and that was when the nuclear reactor went to a partial meltdown.
Yeah. I honestly feel like nuclear reactors should be, like, it's kind of above war, you feel me? Like, war is right here, like, it's just, like, we all know what happened in Japan, right?
Yeah, Fukushima.
Yeah, well, you don't want another one of those, especially in, like, mainland America, if there is maybe a dirty bomb going off, but, yeah, I feel like nuclear reactors just shouldn't be, like, around any type of gunfire.
Yeah, and I mean, Weatherly, for example, I consider myself kind of, pro-nuclear energy, I think it could be an amazing renewable energy, great substitute for fossil fuel, but, then again, I'd love to see it just, not in my backyard,
Yeah,
like,
nuclear energy is kind of a touchy subject since some parts of it do have the effect on the environment. I'm not trying to come from a very, I'm just saying scientifically, but it does really help.
A lot of time for me, like in my sports team, school, everywhere. Even though I do politically align myself, like kind of, on the center right side of things, I do like to be nonpartisan and kind of like non-biased at like all the places because, you really just don't want to like bring up politics with your classmates.
Yeah.
Because especially for me, I go to a very liberal school. I mean,
Very liberal.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I brought up literally anything, like, my favorite president, me personally, is Ronald Reagan. He's one of the most conservative presidents we've ever had. If I walked up to one of my extremely liberal classmates and said that, sorry, I get stuttery sometimes.
Oh, it's okay.
They would probably heckin' crucify me, my man.
Yeah, it's...
bro.
In nowadays society, you can't have just an average sit-down with somebody and talk about politics. As we can see, people have a very biased opinion from I won't name him, but our friend, yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
It's hard to find respectful people nowadays who are willing to sit down and have a conversation. Most people just scream at you or bark at you, like those blue-haired girls and shit.
I know that feeling though. I live by this one quote. You try to ignore people, but then again, the quote is kind of, you don't make progress if you stop and throw rocks at every dog that barks at you.
Yeah.
Because you really gotta ignore people like that. Like I became a master at that. Since I started going to the school I'm going to, because a lot of people got opposing opinions. A lot of people aren't happy, with my opinion. So yeah, and then another example I'd like to dive into is Twitter.
Oh, yes, Twitter. Yeah. Twitter, I don't do Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of an Instagram, Snapchat man, like, I'm a guy. But as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. I actually was very excited to get into my debate class in a school. It's an enrichment.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like this goes back to what you were saying, Weatherly. You can't really have a sit-down conversation about, like, politics with somebody you disagree with because they immediately throw out on places like Twitter, oh, if you disagree with me, you're racist, or you're homophobic, or or you're transphobic, or you hate, I don't know, you hate Austrian people, man.
Yeah.
You name it at this point, man. You
Yeah.
breathe wrong, someone gets offended by it these days.
Yeah. Every successful politician, in my opinion, has the ability to sit down and talk. Uh, we both live in a very liberal side.
Extremely
Yeah.
blue, yeah.
So, as we can see, there's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters around us, and Bernie Sanders, he doesn't get along with people. To be a successful politician, you have to not just be good at politics, but you have to have a good charm, like Ronald Reagan. He was very charismatic.
Ronald Reagan was a movie star, so
Yeah.
yeah, that really helped him. And I mean, movie stars have a weird thing about being the governor of California. Like first we had Reagan, and then a few years after him we get Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I think they were both Republicans. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Reagan was, but pretty sure Schwarzenegger was also. So seems like to win the governor of California, you really just gotta be popular or a Democrat,
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it's too bad. Speaking of politics, but I'd really like to just kind of go. It's hard nowadays. In the 50s or 60s, this country is so patriotic. I hate to change the subject. It just bothers me so much.
Oh, feel free.
Like,
I can always rebound us.
After World War II, this country is very patriotic. It just seems just been going down, I mean,
I know, man.
barely any kids in my class, my first period, stand for the American flag, which is very disrespectful.
That's like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee at the American flag. Do you know how hecking disrespectful that is?
Well,
I don't care that a person got killed, man.
Yeah, definitely. That didn't trigger me. It definitely, when I first saw it, definitely made me a little upset. I don't want to. We should probably avoid subjects about the whole BLM movement.
I know,
but
and I'm completely non-partisan when it comes to that.
Yeah, I support. I think black people's lives do matter. Just I do have problems with the organizations and what happened during the summer 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, Colin Kaepernick.
Said it better myself.
Yeah, thank you for the words, Danksel Sanzaki.
But all right, Nico, I'm sorry, Weatherly. Weatherly, is that little speech over?
Yeah, I just.
All right, good. Time for the rebound. So, you were talking about how America was very patriotic after World War II. Like Truman, President Harry Truman is one of my favorite presidents, personally.
Mm-hmm.
He was a real stand-up guy. He was vice president to Franklin D. Roosevelt, who brought us out of the Great Depression. So, yeah, that kind of just gains you some brownie points right off the bat.
Yeah, that's Roosevelt. It's too bad, Roosevelt and Truman. If I believe Truman took over right after Roosevelt.
Truman took over right after him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's amazing actually. Did you know that Roosevelt served 4 terms? He died 3 months into the 4th.
I know that. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he must have been a very good president for people to elect him that much,
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got, and saying that you really gotta compare him to the president that came before him, President Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover, he was coming off the presidency of Calvin Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge, an amazing president, by the way. And guess what happened during his presidency?
Yeah, Hoover.
The Great Depression.
Yeah.
The Great Depression happens, And so then he decides to throw up taxes to kind of help it, right? But then that only makes it worse. So everything he did just made the Depression worse. He tried so hard, but it's kind of like Lyndon B Johnson, another one of my favorite presidents, and the Vietnam War. Like, I'm sorry to go off ranting again like this. This is something I tend to do.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, Lyndon B Johnson during the Vietnam War, he put more troops into Vietnam when during the later stages of his presidency, it became clear we were losing that war.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and you know, his goals were clear. You know, stop the spread of communism in Asia, right?
Yeah.
But when thousands on thousands of troopers are dying in Vietnam to the horrific booby traps they had and the hiding in the bushes, you know, there's eventually a time when you gotta say, heck it, America lost to Vietnamese farmers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fact.
Eventually, yeah, that time comes, and then Richard Nixon defeated him. Well, he didn't defeat him. LBJ did not run for a second term, but Richard Nixon, who I know you love, Weatherly, he came in promising to end the Vietnam War. The war really kind of just dragged on for the earlier bits of his presidency, and then he started taking troops out towards the end, and then Vice President Gerald Ford came in after Watergate and finished the job, you know?
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like there's definitely a lot of Soviet intervention when it came to the Vietnam War. Like, some things, like, they're obviously, I don't want to go on any conspiracy theories, but it's kind of hard for small Vietnam farmers to defeat a whole country. I definitely feel like the Viet Cong fighters definitely had support from the Soviet Union and the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's just another example of this.
Like, Cuban Missile Crisis was during JFK's presidency.
Yeah, that was
or LBJ.
Yeah, definitely during one.
It was during John F. Kennedy's presidency.
That's what I just said.
It was definitely one of the heights of the Cold War. That if it's kind of amazing, you know. I mean, it's not amazing. It would be terrible.
It's definitely the hottest part of the Cold War.
Yeah, definitely that was when tensions were just in the sky. You know, like if one of those missiles went off, then it would just be all-out war. You feel me?
Mhm. And that's something I praise John F. Kennedy for. He was a absolute god of diplomacy. Man could talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad his presidency ended like it did.
Yeah, it's very shameful. I don't know why. I mean, do you think out of any other country, I feel like, do you think the Soviet Union had definitely had kind of, were playing around with JFK, maybe had a small presentation of in his death?
I won't die on that hill, but I could be swayed.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd be convinced in right now, but I mean, if the facts get set out right, you might just have me on that team, you know?
Yeah, it's or it could just be one of those examples about John Lennon's death. Are you a John Lennon fan?
I played a few Beatles songs for a school concert back in April, but besides
Can you
that,
remember what Beatles songs they were?
Yeah, it was Let It Be, Hey Jude, with a little help from my friends in Yellow Sub. So basically, the ones everyone knows.
Yeah, some of the Beatles' best songs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, or
if you ask me,
just a crazy guy killing.
Yeah, if you ask me, we really should have done Here Comes the Sun, because it really, Here Comes the Sun really just like gets me out of whatever bad mood I'm in, you know?
Yeah, it's a very positive song. It's too bad. John Lennon was such a great artist. He was in his prime. It's just, I guess it's just another example of a crazy guy doing crazy shit.
He was only 40 at the time of his death.
I know this is a very touchy subject to many people.
Go right ahead.
Would we like to have a conversation on a current school shooting that happened in Texas?
I mean,
it's big news right now. We don't have to.
Sure, take some of the conversation, was it really?
Yeah, I don't. So the whole thing about it, the whole NRA and stuff. I feel like a lot of my teachers. So we watched something about it in class. Do you know CNN
Yeah.
10?
CNN 10.
It's like a
Uh,
10-minute video about like current news.
no.
Yeah. Well, basically, my teacher has a very biased opinion.
Left wing or right wing?
Yeah. Well, no, not she's not right wing. She's very left wing.
Oh, all right. So you basically answered my question. All right,
Yeah.
continue.
So we were learning about it, right? And when at the end of the video, so basically she brings up points that are very obvious. Just she likes hearing. There's very liberal girls in my class. Like, it's crazy. I mean,
know.
I hate to go off topic about the school shooting, but it's
you
just
rant on.
it's just so sad, because there's girls who are in 5th grade who don't even, like, society, I don't want to go on none weird, but society is printing our kids' brains. I know this sound like some fucking, like, Alex Jones shit or whatever, but no, it's a fact,
yeah.
Like,
I know, whether I'm gonna stop you right there for a second. I'm sorry. I respect a lot of stuff you were saying. You're kind of like veering off into kind of like a conspiracy theory path for me personally right now. But yeah, let's just put the train back on the tracks and continue.
Yeah, sorry for that, but
This is very off topic, but what is your guys' favorite gum?
I don't really have
like
a favorite gum.
like man, it's in my head. I just don't know the brand name. All right, let's get back on topic.
All right, so
Weatherly, continue.
Yeah, so people are. So the school shooting, right? It's kind of transitioning into gun control, right? And I think I think people should have background checks because like that dude who had a gun, he should not have had a gun. I mean, he was fucking crazy.
He was insanely mentally unstable, and not to take some of your take some of your time away, Weatherly, but I consider myself kind of pro gun, but then again, you gotta have some regulations with everything,
Yeah, I don't think
and
everything,
including guns, like you can't just give a fully automatic assault rifle to someone who's extremely mentally unstable in a terrible spot in their life and expect them to just keep it hung up on their wall.
Yeah.
I agree with what Big Andy is saying.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, it's fine if you have your guns. I don't care. I just feel like guns should only be in the hands of mentally stable people who know how to handle them and are not in any intention to hurt anybody.
And I mean, sorry to steal more of your time, Weatherly, but I could see myself in the future, having a little bit of a gun collection,
Yeah, same.
being a bit of a hunter, being a bit of fisher, manly type of stuff,
Yeah, I'd like to learn how to hunt,
Yeah.
Or sometimes I ask my dad to take me to a shooting range, or I was shooting this cool SWAT gun the other day. If this wasn't the other day, it was a while ago, but I like this cool laser and shit. It was like straight out of Rainbow Six. You feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, gun control. We're definitely going on to more touchy subjects.
I feel like as this episode has went on, we've just gotten more and more touchy with our subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Well,
continue.
I've really been wanting to speak about this subject for a while now. This is very controversial. We do not have to speak about this, but I just like to speak about. I know this is very old news and it has been covered, but would you guys like to speak about the summer of 2020?
Yeah, and what were you saying about going on rants? Like, I take up as much time as I want. You take up as much time as you want. Dank Steel, take up all the time you want. You've been extremely quiet this entire episode. But summer 2020, where to start?
Yeah, so how old was I then? Believe I was I
I think
what
it's
20
sometimes the wisest not to say your age.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say my age for privacy reasons, but thank you for that thing, Teal. But yeah, when I first saw it on the news, I was very I was getting two different sides, you know. Uh Half of the side was just saying peaceful protest, and then the other side, I wasn't getting any commentary from the other side. I was just seeing plain out, you know, looting, and it upsetted me a lot, and it gave me definitely radical ideas that I was able to definitely like get rid of. But
I know where you're going with that. Literally, continue.
yeah, and I'm just very confused because it seems like the the BLM organization, right? What they stand for is good. It's just what the things their supporters have done are not so well, such as looting. You know, I mean,
The looting.
if you
Yeah,
look at like
I'm
main
familiar.
cities, it's like burning. I remember a CNN clip. There's a female reporter. She was reporting on one of the things. She was right behind a fiery building that was on fire, and she said, "It looks pretty peaceful from here." It shows the bias in the news. You feel me?
Man, how could you say that, man? Like, how could you be that tone deaf?
Yeah, I mean,
They had to be pulling some backhanded stuff with that, man. Had to be.
yeah,
Had.
for real. It's disrespectful to the country. I mean, I could, like, you know how all those like militia groups or like armed people were showing up.
I'm familiar, like, you talking, like, about, like the Proud Boys and, the Antifa, like, those type of gangs?
Yeah, so, yeah,
I'm familiar, yeah.
Anderson, where we live, definitely they've had a strong influence. Antifa, we've talked about this off camera a lot, but
A lot, yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy, you know. I mean, I do not support the Proud Boys. I feel like
Me
what they
neither.
stand for is very extreme. Neither do I support Antifa. I'm honestly just looking for the American dream, man. Like all that shit, all that crazy shit. I mean, if it comes to that, it comes to that. But like,
Man, I mean, I feel like that's really what we all want at the end of the day. Like, me personally, I want to be a NFL player, linebacker, but once I retire, I want to go back to Tennessee, Virginia, where I was, where like I was kind of born, and get a house up in the like Smoky Mountains, get a nice dog, get a grill, get a nice fishing rod, and just live out my days,
yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of life, you know. I definitely have a couple different approaches in life, but after I'm retired, man, I'm just looking for just to like sit home, you know, in a nice, maybe in Montana or something, you know, just like a nice
Yeah.
lake, nice
Montana's beautiful.
house, maybe a wife, I don't know, we'll see, but you know, just like a dog, you know, that'll go down to
We'll
town with the
see.
boys. I mean, I don't know, I just can't really picture myself with a wife, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think like maybe it'll change, but like I don't have time for like that kind of relationship. You feel me? Like I'm the kind of hit and bang kind of
Yeah.
guy. You feel me? Hit and run.
Yeah, I get exactly where you're coming off. Whether like me personally, I've only really used not hiccups, hookups. I'm sorry. If like I'm just really, really feeling jiggy, and I just really want, something. But besides that, I really look for something real.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I just like, yeah.
I mean, but then again, I'm not sure if I could have the time for it because, as you both know, I play two sports, football and lacrosse. That takes up a lot of time, and that's not even counting all the off-season training I have to do. Like, do you think I just got this like right out of the blue? No, I worked so hard for this, man.
Yeah, physical fitness is very important. I yeah, I feel like it's good to stay in shape, you know. I mean, we're kind of going off topic now, but I feel like it's good to know how to take care of yourself and take care of others, but...
I know, man, we've covered like 14 different topics in 30 minutes.
Yeah. I really don't want to go to this topic, Big Andy. This, we all know what we're talking. This topic is very touchy, involves... should we skip it, Big Andy? It involves, blue-haired girls. Do you want to skip this topic, or...
Alright, you know, I know curiosity killed the cat, but I'm gonna go in, and also, Weatherly, you've been saying this is a very touchy subject. I don't know if we're gonna do it. If you think that, then just don't bring it up, my man. But you know what? You know, let's just go into it right here.
You start us off.
Blue-haired, where do I start, man? Got a lot of them at my school. As I mentioned, my school's extremely liberal. I feel a lot of schools around the area are, you know, especially yours, Weatherly. For example, mine, we have a GSA thing at lunch. It stands for gender sexuality acceptance. Like, so yeah, that's basically like where all the blue-haired girls meet up. And I told this joke to you, I think, late nights, but this one might be getting me canceled. I remember saying...
before you start, if it kind of goes against our podcast, you know, you may not want to say it, but if it isn't bad, then yeah, sure, whatever.
It isn't, like, bad. I was gonna say that I feel like the only reason I'd go into that room during that time is to see one of my friends say there's only two genders and just watch that room freaking explode, my man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
getting canceled for that one in 14 years.
Well, you'll be fine, but yeah, no, I feel like you know, honestly, sometimes it bothers me, but honestly, if they don't, like, bother me or bother my family and bother my way of life, and, you know, do whatever.
Rosalie, do me a favor. Private this video as soon as I get drafted into the NFL.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. It'll be gone way before that. Yeah.
Alright, where were we? Oh, yeah, you were talking.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, very biased. They have very biased opinions. They know nothing. They know nothing considering politics, but it's very hard to have a rightful conversation with them. And anything can trigger them. It's a fact. Actually, today, a while ago, my math teacher was talking about superheroes, right? How he was Batman, and our English teacher, who was a woman, is what's her name?
Robin.
Harley Quinn. Since,
Catwoman? Harley Quinn.
Since they're like nemesis or whatever, and a girl in my class, she said, "Hey, don't."
I like her. This is going.
She said, "Don't gender appropriate," and I said, and it was, I get like, yeah, sure, whatever the fuck, like Vaven or whatever the fuck, but like, it's a fucking girl, you know, like, you know, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong of saying a woman if saying our woman English teacher is Catwoman. Like, I'm pretty sure she's a woman, guys. I don't think she is a dick, you know?
Yeah. Especially, like, that, like, my head of school gives her a pronoun thing at our, like, beginning of the school thing, and I'm like, bro, you're, like, 103 years old. Like, what? If you hecking thought you were a man back in, like, 1903, you would get hecking locked up in the loony bin.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy how far our society has changed. It's kind of
Change
like...
isn't the right word.
Yeah.
Devolved.
I'd like the, it's kind of, you know that one meme, it's like how it's during like the Nagasaki bombing. Before that, Japan was all like empire, samurai and shit, and then after the bombing, it was just like all anime and shit, all that like soft shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like us, I don't know what like our bombshell that dropped that caused it all of a sudden, but I feel like
I think it was actually a secret bomb that had genes that turns every Japanese man into a femboy.
yeah, it seems like. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes I'm in disbelief how much people. It makes me want to move like down like south somewhere where people are very patriotic, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for me, I feel like America has gone from don't tread on me to please no steppy,
or like fucking please step on me, some shit like that.
like oh step on me, daddy. like that.
Yeah.
Please never do that ever again.
Alright, I'm sorry, Pink Seal. I'm sorry. So I consider myself a patriotic, God-fearing, peace-loving man of the people,
Mm-hmm.
But for example, so my class we were reading the book The Giver.
Oh yeah,
earlier
we read that too.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I read that too.
I feel like that's something a lot of people read around this time. So yeah, and then my language arts teacher, he said, oh, yeah, raise your hand if you think the United States has some dystopian things, because we were on the topic of like dystopias and like oh this thing was supposed to be good but now it's bad. How could this happen? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the specific blue-haired girl, for me, raise your hand and say that some. Oh yeah, go over. If you don't like it here in America, go over to hecking Yemen, where they're having a famine. Go down to hecking Africa, where they ain't got no water. Go down to hecking Colombia and get shot up by the cartel.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's a very closed-minded view of her. So
America is, as much as people love to deny it, America is an absolute superpower. And I know a lot of older presidents like Andrew Jackson, James Polk didn't do good things to get us there, but we were gifted this. We might as well appreciate it,
Yeah,
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Every part was just feel like we went up, we reached the top, now we're going back down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like someone really has to say to this country. Maybe there's definitely people trying to, but most of those people are very extreme. But I feel like we just need the average American back. Just like maybe it's the American dream.
Just the amazing the good old trope of the blue collar worker.
Yeah.
That 1950s politicians catered to.
Yeah, definitely
and
politics.
Politicians now, man. I feel like over history, politicians have really catered to one type of person, the blue collar worker, and some of them, not saying who because we don't want this to get too touchy, really just let your imagination ramble on. But some of them end up doing things good for the rich and not those blue collar workers.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I feel like the average American citizen should have, should be helped out. You feel me? I mean, like, I'm not trying to touch on any like healthcare reasons or anything. I'm just saying like
Medicare, Medicaid, any of that.
Yeah, the rich are really cool, but like, yeah. What are your thoughts on the trickle down system?
Trickle down economics.
Yeah.
All right, it's really a thing of like expectations versus reality, because here's how Ronald Reagan expected it to go. Oh, all right. So the rich would get this extra money, right? Oh boy, so cool. I have extra money. I'm gonna pay my employees more. And then those employees would go, oh cool, I have money. I'm gonna go donate it to charity. And then the people on the street would get houses.
Yeah, that's...
But here's how it actually went. Oh boy, I'm rich and I have extra money. Cool. I'm not giving it to anyone.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the flaws of Ronald Reagan's presidency.
And I have to bring up another one. He ignored the HIV/AIDS epidemic happening throughout the country during the 1980s, and that's why a lot of people say nowadays that he was homophobic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's actually, it's too bad, you know. That's how Eazy-E died. You know, he died.
I know you're a big rap fan.
Mm-hmm.
Classics, you know.
Yeah. Just moment of silence for Eazy-E. Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's too bad, but I mean, it was the 80s. Everybody was homophobic, you know? Like, it's crazy. Like,
I know.
So people look back in the 1600s and be like, oh, he was racist. Like, yeah, of course he was fucking racist. It was the 1600s.
I mean, for example, I was looking up Thomas Jefferson earlier, and I saw an article that said, Thomas Jefferson was racist and homophobic. Exactly! Everyone was!
Yeah.
Even before the presidency of Andrew Jackson, you had to be a white property and or slave owning male to even vote. And it wasn't even until the presidency of Warren G. Harding that women could vote. And then along this time, I think it wasn't until Lincoln that blacks could vote. But even then, it was extremely difficult for blacks to vote.
Yeah, they didn't even count as a full vote.
Yeah, it's
So, yeah, sorry to go off on a bit of a tangent there. I'll let you boys have some extra time.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. But, it's crazy, you know? I just feel like people are so stupid nowadays, you know? If they just don't know
Even
enough
George
about history.
Washington, the father of our country, had slaves. All right, sorry to interrupt you. Was it really?
Yeah. I just feel like you have to learn the bad part about history to learn how to make the future greater, you know?
Yeah, because, you know, history does repeat itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so a lot of the statue toppling that was going around, since we were on the topic of summer 2020, and down south especially, they were toppling statues of people like I'm just gonna do Robert E. Lee, for example, a really great Confederate general.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, we have to kind of look back at dark, terrible stages of our history. We have to learn from our mistakes, you know, kind of like what you were saying, Leslie.
Yeah, that's it's a touchy subject.
This statue
about
toppling isn't gonna help anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I won't do anything, but if you think
won't
about
do anything
it,
but make people angry.
If you think about it, it's kind of like, it's almost equivalent to having a statue of Hitler somewhere, like, you know, because, like, they were both enemies of the Union, you know? I mean, I guess they do have definitely history, and I feel like statues shouldn't be replaced for historical reasons. They shouldn't be destroyed, but I get the black people's anger at it, but still, I feel like you know? But, yeah, what are your thoughts on at the Capitol riot at the Capitol?
January 6th. Oh dear. Oh boy. I'm just gonna say this right here. So you constantly see our former president Donald Trump bashed a lot in the mainstream media these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking like CNN. I'm talking like like
NBC,
some of the TV shows you'd see.
CNBC, SNL, stuff like that.
Yeah. So they bash Trump, right? Haven't seen like a constructive reason why. It's always something either about like his tan or his hair.
Yeah, well,
there's so many bad things Trump did in his presidency. Not saying I'm pro or con Trump, but you could bring up his scandal with Volodymyr Zelensky, where he wanted dirt on Beau Biden. You could bring up his multiple failed businesses. You could bring up his womanizing. You know, the whole grab her by the P word thing.
The invasion of Crimea.
The invasion of Crimea. Let's see. Also,
I feel like
his huge ego. Something like that, man. But instead
Yeah.
you have to just say Orange Man bad, you know?
I feel like
And you have to give a reason.
Yeah, it's like our one friend. He has no logic behind his reason for Trump. But let's go back to the January 6th topic. But I feel
Yeah, I'm
like
sorry. I just kind of want to, move away from that, but we can talk about it. Yeah.
I feel like January 6th was very interesting. It was kind of the first, probably not the first time, but for a while, we've really seen right, far right extremists attack the U.S. Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the time we see.
That's the first time. Sorry to interrupt you, really, but that's the first time the American capital has been really under attack since the War of 1812, when the British came in and burned everything to the ground.
Yeah. It's too bad seeing people raid the Capitol when they call themselves supposed patriots, but I guess it was under one of the another flaws of Trump was that he refused to accept the results of the election. He said it was a fraud, and those people believed it, and for that reason they decided to raid the Capitol, which luckily did not work.
As the cool kids would say, they drank the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry, I hate that. I hate that.
I did not get that.
I hate that so much. I'm sorry. I hate that metaphor so much.
You can just cut it out in post.
So, guys, would you say we start wrapping up soon? It's been like an hour-long podcast.
Yeah, I've seen podcasts go like up to 6 hours, but
I'd say we're shooting for about like the 1 hour 30 minutes mark, so maybe another 30 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, works for me.
Would you guys like to thanks, Seal Saint Zonky. You have really been signed a lot. Would you like to talk about any topics?
No, I'm not into politics.
It doesn't have to be politics.
It doesn't have to be political, man.
I'm not brave enough for politics, in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hey, I'm gonna take a quick restroom break. Just talk about yourself,
Alright. So, might as well take the show here. Let's see. Topics. Think Seal got any ideas?
No, I say we wait for Weathery Lot to get back, maybe. You can always just edit this part out.
I might as well just ramble on about, presidents. So, let's see. So going back to my personal favorite president, Ronald Reagan, he was, definitely one of the, strongest, U.S., not physical strength, like, strongest speech and debate presidents we've, had.
Yeah.
The Gorbachev tear down this wall really made America look like, the big guy,
Yeah.
He really bolstered the strength of, the United States, but at the same time, he really, upped military spending, and he caused the U.S. debt to kind of soar, so, those are also kind of cons of his presidency, along with the trickle-down economics and the, HIV, ignoring HIV, but...
Yeah, well, every president has his pros and his cons.
Yeah, I mean, for example, every president, George Washington, pros, a lot of things, cons, slaves, Yeah, I couldn't think of them right now.
Yeah, well, did I hear something? I may have just been hearing something. Did I hear something about the West and East German Wall?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about, Ronald Reagan's, Berlin Wall speech.
Yeah.
The whole, Gorbachev, tear down this wall. That.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry. Ronald Reagan, that speech, even 30 years later, still gives me chills, man.
Yeah, he was a very charismatic guy,
I mean, he's right up there with, like, JFK and being, like, one of the strongest speech and debate presidents ever, as I said,
Yeah. Big Andy, I'd like to ask you about your, debating, debating career. So, What do you like? What are you looking for at? Like, are you trying to
I'm not trying to like go to high school college or anything. I'm really just looking at it for fun.
That's great. I mean, it seems like you learned a lot about it.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So I mean, and that also gives me good arms. Whenever one of our specific opinionated friends or blue-haired women at my school come at me with some random thing, I can put like a 3-minute opening statement, a good crossfire, and a 2-minute ending statement out right back at them.
Yeah, you just gotta. Yeah, most people are very hard to communicate with it, as we can see. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've gone through a good amount of topics today.
Yes.
How
Mhm.
how are you guys feeling? You need to cover anything else?
Is there really much to cover? I mean, in the first 40 minutes, we went through like 7 different topics.
Dude, I'm on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, I feel like today we've accomplished it. What did you guys say?
Yeah, I'd say this is a very strong start for our first podcast, and I'm greatly looking forward to making more podcasts and maybe opening up a little bit.
Yeah.
couldn't have said it any better, thanks, Seal. All right.
Thank you guys for watching. Guess whenever you're watching this, good morning, good night, or good afternoon.
All right, this has been the Bahama Papas podcast. Goodbye to you.